The media are less a window on reality than a stage on which officials and journalists perform self-scripted, self-serving fictions.
Ever get this, like, I don't know, this feeling that the world is, like, maybe a little too scripted?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're really going to dig into how the media, and I mean everything from, like, those news alerts on your phone to the stuff everyone's sharing online, how all of that, it's not just some neutral mirror, right? It's more like a stage, where everything's been set up just so.
Oh, like that.
And to help us break this all down, we've got these excerpts from this text really gets into how narratives, those stories we keep hearing, well, they're often crafted for someone's benefit, not necessarily because they're the absolute truth.
It's almost like instead of us getting to look through a window and see, I don't know, see reality directly, we're stuck watching it play out on a stage. And somebody, or maybe a whole bunch of somebodies, they're backstage calling the shots about what we see and how we even get to see it.
So it's like we've got directors, we've got lighting, the whole crew. And the actors on this stage, we're talking journalists, those officials giving speeches, even what those influencers always posting. They're not just, tossing facts at us. They're playing roles in this whole media world.
Right. The text argues that everyone in that spotlight, whether they realize it or not, shapes the narrative. It's natural to have a perspective, of course, but we have to get that, everything we see, everything we hear, it's already been run through somebody else's filter.
Okay, yeah, I see how this whole stage thing, this analogy really clicks, Because when you think about what a stage is, right, it's made to make you feel something specific. It's telling a very deliberate story.
Yes.
And that story, more often than not, it's there to serve somebody's purpose.
Exactly. And we as the audience, we have to start asking those questions, Like, who decided this was the play we were seeing today? And who wins if we believe this storyline? That heartbreaking story about, say, a natural disaster, maybe it really is meant to get help to people who need it. But then again, maybe it's there to make us ignore some other news. Or say you've got that feel-good story everyone loves, the local hero kind of thing. You'd be totally true blue, or it could be somebody trying to make themselves look better, right?
That reminds me of, just the other day, scrolling online, I saw a video, a rescue. And it was, oh man, so heartwarming.
Oh, yeah.
But then later I'm clicking around and I see another video, same event, different angle, and suddenly, whoa, totally different story. Made me think, how often are we only getting act one, scene one, And it's the act that somebody handpicked for us to see.
Exactly. And that is such a perfect example. Our whole understanding of something that happened, it hinges on how it's shown to us. And this isn't just about, like, spotting the fake stuff, the lies out there. It's about realizing that even stuff that is true, it can be twisted, spun to mess with how we feel, what we think, even what we go and do because of it.
So if what you're saying is true, and it kind of feels like it is, but if we're always getting fed these carefully curated narratives, what does that even do to us? In the long run, I mean.
Well, think about it this way. It can really warp how we see the world. Like, think about how advertising works. They don't just throw any old picture up there. They use specific images, certain stories, all to make us want what they're selling.
Right.
Same thing's happening with the news, with information in general. It's all in how they frame it, how they tell the story. That framing can make us scared of certain groups of people, or it can make us support certain laws, or it can even just make us feel, I don't know, like the world's more dangerous than it really is.
Yeah. This is, I gotta be honest, starting to feel kind of overwhelming, So what are we even supposed to do about it? Like, just tune it all out, become, I don't know, a hermit or something?
No, not at all. It's about, like, waking up a little.
Yeah.
Being more aware. Don't take everything at face value. Think of yourself as a detective, right?
Yeah.
You got to look at the evidence, check it from all angles before you decide what you believe.
So we're asking ourselves, okay, who benefits if I believe this? What kind of vibe am I getting here emotionally? Are they trying to make me think a certain way on purpose?
Exactly. And just as important, don't get stuck in one echo chamber, right? Actively look for different sources, different opinions. If you're only ever watching one news channel or following the same voices online, you're only getting one side of the story. You're only seeing one tiny part of the stage.
Yes, love that. Like, we've got to become our own detectives, our own directors even, looking for those other viewpoints, those other actors. Maybe they're waiting in the wings, ready to tell their side of it too. We can't just accept the stage as it's presented to us. Yeah. We've got to look deeper, think critically.
It's like you said, become those detectives. piecing together what's really going on, making our own understanding of the world.
Yes.
And, that brings us to, I think, the biggest question of all. If we're saying that the media really is a stage, then what does that make us, the audience? What role do we play in how this whole thing goes?
Wow.
All right, folks, that's our deep dive for today. As always, keep those brains buzzing and stay curious.